Hi, my name's James Gregory, and this is Grappeller Training Video Level 1. Here's Greg, our model, and it's a great day to go grappling. So first of all, he's going to show us what we need to go grappling. And the most obvious item, of course, is you need a grappler. Only available from grappler.com. And it includes a big old locking carabiner. Now, not required but strongly recommended is a climbing helmet to protect that brain pan of yours. Any kind of rated helmet will do, but a climbing helmet is best. You'll find that leather palm gloves will make it easier on your hands. Not required, but good to have. Hiking boots make it easier as well to stick to the rock face. If you don't have hiking boots, then running shoes will work. The other required item is a rope. We use 8mm static accessory cord, only available at outdoor stores or climbing stores. Do not buy your rope at a hardware store. Anything 6mm, 7mm, 8mm will work. We find that the 8mm rope is most comfortable on the hands. Alright, so first thing we need to do is rig ourselves an anchor. So pick a good solid tree at the top of the rock face. You want to make sure it's secure because you're going to be the first person down the rope. That's the protocol. Whoever rigs the rope is the first person down. No knots required, but we do recommend a double overhanded knot. Here's Greg tying it here at the end of the rope for two reasons. It keeps the two ends together, plus it provides a big knot at the end of the rope to warn you that you've reached the end of your rope. You don't want any surprises. Alright, you're going to coil that rope up, and Greg's going to toss the rope over the edge, warning people that there's a rope coming down. Good communication is very important in grappling. You don't want any surprises, especially when you're on a rock face with a group of people. Test the anchor.
Rope coming down.
And now let's gear up and go grappling. Put your grappler on, strap up, buckle down. If you happen to put it on upside down or inside out, it's designed to still work anyway. It'll be safe. Just won't work quite as well and smoothly as if it's the right way on. Snug up the chest strap. Don't need to make it too tight, and even if the grappler slips down a little bit, that's okay because it'll move up into position once you start grappling. Get that helmet on. That prevents you from being injured from, say, rocks falling on your head, or if you slip and fall while you're on the rock face. Gloves on. I prefer a more snugly fitting glove. Greg's putting his pack on because he's making a one-way trip. He's not coming back up. The step that's important is attaching yourself to the rope. So you open your beaner, your locking beaner, you wrap the rope around once, and it's that simple. You lock your beaner. Now notice the beaner slides very smoothly when there's no load on the rope below the beaner. However, as soon as you pull on the rope, the beaner stops moving. And if you ease up on the pull, the beaner starts to slide. And you're attached to that beaner by the grappler, so you slide too. That's the whole theory of grappling. Now, newbies, we recommend that you put yourselves on a double wrap. Adds more friction, you don't have to pull as hard below the rope, below the beaner. Once you feel more comfortable, you can put yourself on a single wrap.
On rope.
And away we go. Always a good idea to have somebody check your gear before you head over the rock face. And notice Greg's hand position, one hand on the hip, the other hand guiding the rope, both hands below the beaner. You can choose a hand position that's comfortable for you. So if you prefer one hand, two hands, one hand back, one hand forward, or even two hands forward, they all work as long as at least one hand is on the rope below the beaner, controlling your descent. Posture is very important. Lean back, feet wide apart. That creates a stable tripod effect on the rock face, keeps your feet on the rock face. And there's Greg's right hand on his hip, providing just a little bit of extra friction. And away he goes. Nothing fancy. Don't show off. Be safe. Enjoy the ride. Yeah, and look around you. Sometimes it's a good idea to stop halfway down and just appreciate that you're halfway down a rock face feeling perfectly safe and comfortable. Greg's moving into a steeper rock face here, so he leans a little further back and pulls a little hard on the rope to control his descent. As simple as that. At the bottom, undo the carabiner, unlock it,
Off rope.
tell the world what you're up to. And because Greg's making a one-way trip here, he's going to untie that double overhanded knot, and he's going to pull down on one side of the rope and bring the rope down to him. And then he's going to keep on going. Pretty simple. Got to make sure at this point that you don't pull some rocks down on top of your head. That's why you're wearing a helmet. Now what Greg is doing here is he's laying the rope. We'll get into that in more detail in the level 2 training video. You don't want to introduce snarl or twist into your rope because the next time you need it, it'll be hard to get it ready for you for grappling. And away he goes. Grappling around the world. This is Sedona, Arizona, Red Rock country where Grappeller was invented. This is the home of Grappeller now in Ottawa, Ontario, Canada. This is one of our newest grapplers at one of our workshops. Pema is showing great form, feet wide apart, leaning back, and she's got 2 hands forward, so she's using that hand position because that's what she finds comfortable. Now, I could say don't do this at home, but it is me doing this at home. But let's leave this kind of maneuver until the level 3 video. This is called free grappling, and a little more complicated than what we've shown on this video here. This concludes Grappeller Training Level 1, but just a review here. First, choose a good anchor. Have somebody check your gear before you go out on the rock face. Once you're out on the rock face, lean back, keep your feet wide apart, and make sure you're always communicating clearly to other grapplers in the area. And finally, have fun and be safe.